Hey, welcome everyone to Master Lu's Health Center's podcast, where we talk on all things Chinese medicine and Chinese martial arts. And today we're going to talk about Chinese martial arts. But before we begin, I want to tell everyone to go and then like and subscribe Master Lu's Health Center's YouTube channel, as well as the Alpine Harbor YouTube channel. The Alpine Harbor YouTube channel has all our Tai Chi form on there where you can actually learn and practice it at home. And then Master Lu's Health Center's YouTube channel itself has things on Chinese medicine, has these podcasts, as well as some of the martial arts as well. And so we like to go and like and subscribe to those channels and to help us out. But today, we have a pretty cool topic that is pretty neat and dear to our hearts, and it's Chinese martial arts.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And so I want to ask. Today we have Kevin and Andy, and I'm going to talk to them about Chinese martial arts and their experiences. First, Andy, what's your experience been with Chinese martial arts and your thoughts on them?
So I've been practicing Chinese martial arts for over 10 years. I am by no means a master. I'm gonna be a student of the art for the rest of my life. And I think that's a correct mentality to approach to it too. Like,
Definitely.
right. And my experience is my own, and I'd like to touch on it just a little bit. From my point of view, Kung Fu is about development, where it will teach you self-defense, and if it's a complete system, it'll also teach you a way of moving that's better for your health. And for that, we like to mention Tai Chi and Qigong. But when you're consistent with it, with the Kung Fu, for many years, if you practice diligently and disciplined wise, your life is gonna change. Cause the whole thing is about developing, right? And you're developing your chi, and you're developing your body, you're developing your mind, even spiritually. When you focus so much and you put a lot of effort, and you dedicate your life to it, and your heart, and you're sweating, and you're bleeding over it, it becomes spiritual at one point. So it develops you physically, mentally, spiritually. Your will becomes stronger. And it's not so much about kicking and punching, where there are aspects towards it. You want to learn how to defend yourself. I like this quote that it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in war. So you always want to have yourself developed. And in time, what you put into your practice, you will see it in your life. Definitely for me, it's been a life changer since I started practicing many years ago. Not so much about kicking and punching, where it is about kind of learning about yourself. As you go, like after years of training, and you can know 1,000 forms, but if you're not practicing it, like that, there's no benefit from to it. A lot of the benefit comes from the practice. When you practice it, you start learning about yourself. You start learning what areas are more tense in your body. So then you start to realize there's an imbalance in your body that you can only figure out by you practicing. And over a period of time, after many years of doing this, my life has changed. Before, now I'm an acupuncturist, you know, and yeah, Kung Fu has definitely played a big factor in my life changing.
So, how did you get involved with
Well,
Chinese martial arts?
well, I've always been a fan of Chinese martial arts. Like I was always into the movies. I remember, yeah, what was that movie? Ip Man, right?
Yep.
Like it came out. Even before that, I was a big fan of Iron Monkey. Then you have the 36 Return to the 36 Chambers.
Yeah.
I was always a fan. I was always practicing at home more. My cousins used to go to karate classes when I was a kid. We couldn't afford any classes, but I remember my cousins, when they would come from these karate classes, I would say, "Can you teach me what you learned?" And we always used to play like kung fu martial arts. I really didn't know that I was gonna develop into like some sort of martial artist. Like it just one day, um, a lot of things happened in my life, right? So I needed a new way of living, a new way of exercising too, because I got into a bad injury with my shoulder, and I used to lift weights a lot. Yeah, that was my way of de-stressing myself. And it didn't matter what time. If I missed a day of the gym, if it was 1 a.m., I was at the gym. I was very dedicated. Um, but then I got injured, and I couldn't do those exercises anymore. But like being physical has always been my way of letting go of my stress. So I had to learn
That's
a
good.
new I had to learn a new way of moving, and with that came martial arts. With that, I was able to and still can move my joints in my body and keep them healthy without degrading them. Because when you lift weights too much, it'll hurt your joints eventually. Yeah, it'll really break them down. You know. So what Kung Fu did for me at that time was it showed me a new way of exercising and keeping me moving to keep me healthy. But I did not realize. I heard it was gonna change you if you keep yourself dedicated to it. But I've experienced that change.
That's
for myself.
great.
Yeah.
How about you, Kevin? What's your experience with Chinese martial arts?
Well, when I was younger, we couldn't really afford to go to formal training, so I always would go to the library after watching some Bruce Lee or some martial art movie. I'd go to the library and find a book, and I would try and practice. And there's a difference between learning from a book and learning from a master. I remember when I started learning Tai Chi from you, I got the DVD, and I was so excited. I went home, started practicing, came to work the following week, and I said, "Okay, I've learned the first part of it," and I was real excited. And I went and showed you, and you're like, "Nope," and I'm just like, "What?" The form was completely off. So people who want to learn from a book or a DVD, I highly recommend actually finding a master.
Yeah, there's no substitute for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that was my first exposure, was the movies and books. And it wasn't until much later I was involved with that network marketing company that I had mentioned many times before, when I actually started studying Qigong. And I was falling into the same trap Western people fall into by adding New Age mumbo jumbo into Chinese martial arts. And one of my mom's last husband introduced me to a form called Spring Force Qigong, which was what I was practicing when I started working here. And it was really easy to learn, and I was actually surprised. But then when I started working with you and your dad, you guys showed me that there's nothing mystical about Qigong and Tai Chi. It is probably the simplest, most straightforward martial art that I've ever actually had realized myself.
Yeah.
I quit practicing that, and first thing I learned was the Qigong form that we do at the beginning. I remember you printed it out for me, and because I was part-time then, I would go into the gym, and I'd set the paperwork on the table, and I'd look at it, and I'd be studying it and try and practice. And then you guys invited me to try Tai Chi with the seniors. And I was like, I don't know, because I always just wanted to do Qigong. To me, that's what I wanted to do. Guess what?
Totally changed.
It changed everything. So I went out there with the seniors, and I felt so clumsy going through it. And we hear this even today from everyone that comes in the first time and tries it, that I felt so lost. But afterwards, I looked around at all these people that were like 60, 70, 80 years old. I mean, we even had a 90-year-old in there that was doing it at that time. None of them were sweating. And here I am just pouring rivers of sweat. It was, and I got bit by the bug, the Tai Chi bug. And it's changed everything. It took me a long time to get it down because I would get focused on work or other things, and I wouldn't be taking the classes. But once I decided this is what I need to do, it didn't take long to go through it. And I remember to this day, this is one of the happiest moments when we finished that last class of you teaching me the form, where I had memorized the whole entire form. That I was jumping up and down for joy because it was so exciting. And then you guys made me an instructor, and that's where things really change. Become an instructor. You think you know the form well as a student, but once you start teaching, you have so much more to learn. And like Andy, I made my goal. Well, you're going to be a student learning it the rest of your life. You're going to be a forever student. Even you told me once that even masters who have been practicing it for 50 plus years will even say they don't know it all, that they're still learning.
Yep. So
now it's Master Ty's turn.
Yeah, so the Chinese martial arts is a very vast topic, and there's a lot to it. And so with me, so my father, he was from Taiwan. He is Master Lu. And my grandmaster is Yin Qianhe, so Master Yin Qianhe. And he was from Shandong in Qingdao, in that area. And he practiced and learned the Chinese martial arts in the early 1900s. So he was born in 1903. And he started practicing in China, had a master that came and taught him. And Grandmaster Yin Qianhe, Grandmaster Yin he became really good, and so he was part of the army in the Chinese government, and he became a general, and he fought in the Japanese War there. Then he fought in the Civil War he was of the Nationalist Party, and he also taught the martial arts in the army part. And then 1949 he went to Taiwan, and he opened up martial arts school. And my father met him when my father was 13 years old and started learning. And it was intense training. That time, my father trained for almost 12 hours every day, and very intense practice. And he became, national champion in Taiwan, and also within the martial arts community, a national coach in Taiwan as well. And so he was teaching, and then in the mid 70s, they were invited to come here to teach some they first invited my father to come to make a movie, and then it didn't work out, and so they stayed and they opened up martial arts schools. And they earned enough money. They sent Grandmaster Yin back to Taiwan, and then he sold all his property and moved back to the U.S.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
and started teaching here in Salt Lake, and then he moved to Milwaukee and taught there, and that's where he passed away in the late 80s in Milwaukee. But since then, we've been teaching all the northern style Shaolin Kung Fu, the northern style, and as well as the old yang style Tai Chi, and we teach the Ba Gua and Xing Yi Quan as well. And so the northern style, well, in Chinese martial arts, we talk about external and internal. And so the external arts is what we see like in the movies, all the fast, all the fighting stuff. It builds the bones on the outside, and then it can help you internally. And so like the Shaolin is like the external style. So the northern Shaolin. And so, but the internal styles like Tai Chi, Ba Gua Zhang, and Xing Yi Quan, those are the styles that help build internally, and then they can develop on the outside, the muscles. And so those are the differences. So when you're watching people practice Tai Chi, they're done slowly because they're building the energy up inside first. But all those styles, they help you with your health, with your strength, with your body itself, preventing illness, but then also to defend yourself. And then as you practice Chinese martial arts, you also become a better person. It'll transform your life to become a better person, to be more disciplined, to be more focused, confident. We have what we call Wude, which is the morals and attitudes of Chinese martial arts. And so you have things like being respectful, being loyal, being disciplined, diligent, those type of things to help you to know as you practice. Those are the principles that are instilled within you.
And all these principles, too, you carry over to your life.
Yes.
And these principles that you ingrain physically in your body, that's how your life changes over a period of time, because you have this focus now. You have grounded, you have discipline. Whereas before, if you didn't, pretty hard to have a successful life without these key attributes, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
So now that you've trained and you've been disciplined in these aspects, you carry them over to your life, whether subconsciously or consciously, and then your life changes.
Yes.
It becomes more positive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I started martial arts when I was 2 years old.
Always makes me
And my
laugh.
father would teach me all the northern Shaolin as well as the Tai Chi, Ba Gua, Xing Yi. And that's what I've practiced since. So over 40 years, I've been learning, and I continue to learn, as well as teaching and practicing all the Chinese martial arts. And it's like a way of life. Not only I learn how to defend myself, learn how to fight or whatever, but also to be a better person, to be more focused. And as we teach others, we teach the children, we teach the adults, it transforms lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people go out into the world looking for, if they're having trouble with their lives, they're looking for an answer outside of them. Maybe this person can help me. Maybe this person can help me. But really, I've heard, and it is true, the only person that's going to come to your rescue is yourself. Right? So one way that you can come to your own rescue is by adding these values in your life.
Yes.
And when you add these values, you're not going to be the same person.
Yeah.
You're going to come to your own rescue.
Yeah.
And with that, that's how I believe Kung Fu, Chinese martial arts, can possibly even change the world. Because if everyone has these these key values, we're going to see less people struggling,
Yeah.
and more life-changing events, but for the better, for the
Yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
With what you said, that the person has to be ready. There's a old Chinese saying, when the student is ready, the master will appear. But you notice the student has to be ready.
Yeah.
That means that you're wanting and you're willing to make the changes that's necessary.
Yeah.
So you need a good teacher. First and foremost, you need a good teacher.
Yes,
I got a
very
great
good
one.
teacher.
My teacher is Suzanne Fries. I've been training with her for many years now. An incredible martial artist, very disciplined. The way she moves, very difficult to see, to compare it to different styles. The style that I know is called Bagwazang, right? My Shifu is Suzanne Fries, who learned it from Raymond Alice, who learned it from Master Park Baknam.
Mm-hmm.
Master Park, he's the head of the Association of Bagwazan, and he runs it. He learned it from his master, Master Lu Shuqian.
Liu Shuitian.
There,
Liu
you say his
Lu-
name much more accurately than I
Liu
do.
Shui.
There's a monument in China and in Korea, I believe. It could be one or the other, but Master Lu taught it in Korea. He learned it in China. The story of Master Lu is very fascinating because he also fought in that war as well, in China, and he was a guerrilla in the army, and he was going back and forth from Korea to China fighting in that war.
Mm.
The story that I know of is that he was doing that until his wife passed away. She was killed in one of these guerrilla wars and these little battles. And after that, he migrated to Korea and he stayed there. But he learned his Bagwazang, from someone outside of the person that's accredited it, of teaching it, of learning it,
Dong Hai Chuan.
Dong Hai Chuan, right?
Outside Dong Hai Chuan.
What he does know styles from it, like forms from Dong Hai Chuan. He says that where he learned it from, his master, and I forget his name. Um, he said he didn't learn it from Dong Han Chuan.
Yeah.
His comes from a much older teacher, or a much older
Much
style.
older lineage. And that's
Yeah.
even like our Tai Chi lineage almost too,
Yeah.
because even like our Tai Chi lineage, it Grandmaster Yin learned it, but you have Yang Xiaoho, which is from the Yang family, and that is where our Tai Chi kind of come through, but it's a different form. You don't ever see this form or like the most common, and but we have a lot of like real martial movement to it and stuff, which is really neat, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah,
How has Kung Fu changed your life?
Kung Fu has been my whole entire life. And, I think it's helped me to be just more focused. And my father always said, always do good, don't do bad. It's easy to do bad, but it takes hard work to be able to do good. And so that's why Kung Fu teaches you to work harder and to be hard worker.
Now you say all these words. What is the meaning of Kung Fu again?
So Kung Fu is like being to work hard. It's like a hard work, the actual Kung Fu word. And so a lot of times when like people have a good skill, whether it's cooking or calligraphy or whatever skill they have, then in Chinese they'll say, "Oh, you have Kung Fu." That means they're really good at it. And that's like you put in the diligence, the work, the to have that Kung Fu, and so I think even with just the word of Kung Fu, it teaches us to be more diligent and to hard work, but to be a good person all around, to help others, serve others, things like that. And I think that's what the martial arts has really instilled upon me, and to continue to pass that on, especially with like children, as we need to help children to develop their focus, their confidence, and the martial arts helps with them and doing that, to transform their lives, to do better in school, to help them focus, to be more disciplined, calmer.
I like to touch on that too.
Yeah.
Many years ago, I'm just math is not my forte. I totally think that is an important skill to know. I remember growing up in grammar school and hearing, "Oh, you're never gonna use math when you grow up." I think that's the wrong approach to teach kids. Math is very important. Um, anyway, it was never my skill. I was just never good at it, and I have to graduate from undergraduate school in order to practice acupuncture. There's no other way around it. Anywhere in this country, like maybe some states, you don't need a undergraduate degree, but in a lot of states you do. And in order to get my undergraduate degree, I have to go through a biostatistics course,
Oh.
right? And I tried it already, and I'm gonna share this. I failed. I failed that class. The first time I tried it, I failed. I couldn't get through it. I wasn't doing kung fu at that time, right? Fast forward years later, I'm back at it. Like I'm dedicated. My trick at this point was I've been practicing kung fu for many years now, and I had this biostatistic class at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. At 10 a.m., I had my own kung fu training with my teachers, my instructors. So I would go and I would train. I would train with them for a good hour, and then afterwards I would drive to my undergraduate school, right, and go to my biostatistic class. Night and day difference. When I did kung fu in the morning and I went to class in the afternoon, I was focused. My eyes were wide open. A lot of what like it's math, it's numbers, and it before it would not stick. It will go in through one ear, out through the other. But after I practiced and I balanced myself, I balanced my mind, I balanced my body physically. When I went to class, I was completely focused. What the teacher heard, all of a sudden, it was just sticking. It was just ringing a bell. And I went from failing that class to getting a B plus.
That's
A B
Wow.
plus. I graduated
That's
B
great.
plus. I may not have been perfect, but still a B plus
Yeah, that's
for
good.
someone who's never been good at math.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
wonderful.
So it
That's
just shows
from the
you,
Kung Fu to help you,
right?
help you
Yeah.
to focus.
more focus, more discipline. Yeah.
I definitely think the Chinese martial arts helps out a lot. It helps with, with the anxiety and stress. Tai Chi's helped Kevin quite a bit
yeah.
with
I've,
anxiety and stress.
and it's given me so much more confidence than I could have ever imagined.
yeah,
I practicing it has helped me become more confident and being able to become a more outspoken person. Doing something like this, I couldn't even have imagined before learning Tai Chi. I couldn't have done this.
yeah.
Being in front of
Cameras.
cameras, I hated cameras. I hated it with passion, but now here I'm sitting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
So how can kung fu help with anxiety?
So it helps with calming the mind, controlling the emotions, help you to manage things. So like there'll always be some sort of stress or anxiety that may come, but with the kung fu, if you have that mindset, they can help control the mind. Also with the breathing, all of that will help you to calm down.
It balances
you.
you. Yeah.
Help you to be balanced.
Mhm.
yeah,
Helps with your organ systems,
Yeah.
biomedically, and so that will help with that anxiety, stress,
Yep.
and so I think in another podcast we should talk about a lot of the different styles of kung fu.
Yeah, I want to talk
And
more
all
about this
the-
subject. Yeah.
We want to talk more, but today we just touched on like a lot of the benefits, and I'd like to invite all those that are listening and watching to come to Master Lu's Health Center. If you're listening or watching on from the podcast or watching on the YouTube channel, and you're here in the greater Salt Lake area, Salt Lake County, even like up in Davis County, to come for a free intro class of either Kung Fu or Tai Chi, and to invite them to come to Master Lu's Health Center for those classes. You could come and try out a free intro lesson, see how you like it, and then get some more information. And I think it'll change your life. And for those that are listening and watching, to remember to subscribe to our Masters Health Centers podcast on anywhere you listen to podcasts, as well as subscribe to the Masters Health Centers YouTube channel and the Alpine Harbor YouTube channel. On the Alpine Harbor YouTube channel, we have Tai Chi videos, and you can follow those videos. So like and subscribe that channel too. That will help us out a lot, and we'll continue to bring out these type of content. And I think in the next podcast, we'll talk about the different styles of Chinese martial arts.
That'll
Sounds
be a lot
good.
of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but thank you very much for everyone
Thank you.
for listening and watching us, and we'll just see you guys later.
See you guys.